All right, so I'm going to make my video here on the predictions for the New York Giants 2019 NFL season. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with how I have things laid out here. And, these are just my opinions. This is what I think is going to happen. As of right now, it's the way I have it laid out, it's not looking good for us. Yes, I understand that you look at the schedule and it's not necessarily very difficult at first glance, but when you really dive into it and think about the players that the Giants will be going up against on offense and the firepower that we will be facing against as far as these other teams go, I just don't think we have the talent on the offensive side of the ball. Plus, we don't really have the experience on the defensive side of the ball. Our young secondary is going to hurt us. If I was an offense playing against the New York Giants, I mean, I would be running misdirection plays all day long against us, because with a young defense, you know, you fake the one side, that defense is going to collapse that way if they're not disciplined. So I think a lot of teams are going to execute that way against us, and I think it's going to happen early and often. So, but I mean, I think this team's heading in the right direction. If people have seen my videos before, you know I'm not necessarily the biggest Eli Manning fan in the world. I'm ready for him to go. I can't wait to see Daniel Jones get in there, especially after what I've seen from him so far. Now, it was much like all the rest of you. I wasn't very excited to see him drafted. But, you know, he was kind of an unknown. I had watched tape on him before the draft, and you know, I really wasn't necessarily impressed with him after watching the tape. But, you know, you did see that he had a lot of drops, and you did see the toughness was there, and he hung in the pocket and he made his throws. So, I mean, you definitely saw that. Arm strength, it's kind of deceiving in college. I mean, it may look like guys don't have the arm strength in college, and all of a sudden they get to the NFL and they start going into different weight programs and stuff like that, and all of a sudden their arm strength just kind of comes out of nowhere. And I mean, his arm strength, from what I've seen so far, it's not overwhelming, but I mean, it's more than adequate. I mean, it gets the job done. And as long as he continues to place the ball where it needs to be like he's been doing, I mean, I think he can be a very successful quarterback in this league. And I'm just looking forward to seeing him get out there, because I want to see somebody else besides Eli Manning lead this team. I can't take it anymore. I don't want to hear any more excuses about the offensive line. I don't want to hear any more excuses about anything. I just want to see somebody else in there to see if they can get the job done better than Eli Manning. Dude, I am a diehard fan of this team. What you see in the background is only half of my basement. I mean, it's covered in Giant shit everywhere. So, all right, we're going to get into this thing. So, the first game, we face the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Now, if Zeke plays, I think they're going to beat us. I think Amari Cooper, I think, you know, Michael Gallup going into his second year, I think those two guys in themselves facing a young secondary like we have, I think they're going to be too much to stop. And their defense, I mean, what more can you say about their defense? I feel like the Giants are kind of doing the same thing that the Cowboys have done over the past 2 years, is just building the defense up. And, I mean, because you saw it that one year, what was it, like 2 years ago, where Dallas drafted a ton of defensive players. And it took them like a year to actually get it together. You know, Leighton Vander Esch and all the corners that they drafted. And I mean, it just started to come together at the end of the season last year. And you're just going to see it carry over into this year. I feel like we're going to get to that point. Maybe not. We're not going to get to the point of what Dallas's defense is now, this year. But, I mean, we get a couple pass rushers in here next year, spend a little bit of that money. Not too much, because we don't want to put ourselves back in the position we were in before. So, you know, we got to spend our money right. We got to get the right kind of players in here and just not overpay for them and draft well. But offensively, yeah, we need a #1 target, because right now we have a #2 as our #1, and we're really going to rely on Evan Ingram to stay healthy. If Evan Ingram stays healthy, then maybe some of these games that I have as losses, they may turn into wins. I don't know, but I'm asking for a lot for Evan Ingram to stay healthy. The guy's got all the talent in the world. It's just, can he stay out on the field? All right, so I've already gone over the Dallas game. In Dallas, regardless if Zeke plays or not, I think we're taking a loss. I just don't think we have the talent to play with that team. And we don't have the depth to play with that team, especially in Dallas. Game number 2, the Buffalo Bills in New York. I have this as a loss. I honestly think Josh Allen and his running ability is going to be a difficult task for this defense to stop. Unless we contain the edges and we contain the center of that pocket and we don't let him out of that backfield and run directly through his line, through our defensive line, then we may have a shot. But, I mean, we all know about Josh Allen's running ability. The man had a couple 100-yard games last year running the ball. And he can throw it deep. And he's got a guy there now that he can throw the ball deep to in John Brown. And plus, he's got a pretty good underneath guy who we all know, Mr. Cole Beasley, who I always thought in Dallas he was kind of underutilized. I always thought Cole was a pretty good player. I never understood why Dallas didn't use him more. Then they have Zay Jones, guys like that. Zay's had some good games. I mean, Zay's he's not a world beater, but I mean, if you need to make a throw to him, he'll make the catch. He'll get you 600-700 yards a season. There was a lot of hype coming. There was a lot of hype for him when he first came out of the draft, and he hadn't necessarily lived up to it, but he can be a dependable guy in a pinch. And plus, I mean, their defense, Tremaine Edmonds, the guy they drafted at defensive tackle, I can't think of his name right now. He's going to be putting pressure on whoever our quarterback is. It will probably be Eli Manning in the second game of the season, of course. But I think they're going to be too much for us. And I know a lot of people have a win for this game for us, but I just don't see it. I really don't. So, heading into, we play Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Mr. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and O.J. Howard. Not much of a running game. Peyton Barber's there. Peyton Barber can have some decent games. I mean, he's not great by any means. People's names are escaping me right now. Like the guy they drafted last year, that really didn't amount to anything, but he's looked quick in the preseason. I don't know what to think of him. I think he just got hurt the other day, so he's probably not going to be out there on the field. I'm talking about the rookie they drafted last year. I can't think of his name right now. So, I've got us starting out at 0-3. And like I said, people aren't going to like what I have to say. And I know they're not going to agree with that. A lot of people aren't. I can't necessarily blame you. That's just the way I see things happening. Then we play at home against the Redskins. The Redskins are a dysfunctional mess. They are way worse off than we are right now. Trent Williams is, I mean, there was news that came out that New England offered a first-round pick for him. I don't know why they would do that. I mean, Trent Williams has been nothing but injured the past, 2 to 3 seasons. The man can't stay healthy, and now he's asking for a big contract. He's a great left tackle, but he gets hurt way too much. And I'm surprised. I'd be shocked if New England actually offered them a first-round pick for him. But they said those were conflicting reports, so I don't believe that. But the Redskins, at home, I believe we can beat them. I believe we are a better football team than the Redskins. The Redskins have nobody. What do they have? Like Trevor McLaurin, the guy that Dwayne Haskins played with at Ohio State, as maybe like their only wide receiver, and Josh Doxson. I mean, Jamison Crowder's gone. I mean, they don't have really anybody else. Jordan Reed got banged up today, from what I heard. He took a severe blow to the head, so he's probably got a concussion, and he's probably going to be out for God knows how long. You know how Jordan Reed is. So that's our first win of the season. And honestly, before that game, I think the Daniel Jones talk is going to really start revving up before the Redskins game, especially if we start off 0-3, which I really think could happen. And then we play the Vikings at home, consecutive home games. The Vikings, it ain't going to happen. The Vikings are going to crush us. Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Kyle Rudolph, the tight end they drafted, who I like a lot, Herb Smith Jr. He's a pretty good player. Now, he's probably not going to do much this year, but next year he's going to be a tight end you want to watch. And then the defense for the Vikings, I mean, you know what it is. I ain't got to tell you about what they're all about. If Eli's still a quarterback at that point, good luck, Eli. You've never been good against the Vikings your whole entire career. Best of luck to you. Then the Patriots. Another game I'm not going to spend much time on. You all know how this game's going to end. Loss. So basically, I've got us at 1-5 right now. 1-5. Then we go up against the Arizona Cardinals at home. Based off what I've seen of the Arizona Cardinals so far in the preseason, I'm not necessarily very... I mean, they're not showing me much. I mean, Kyler Murray's not showing me much either. But his offensive line is a mess. I mean, they are a mess. And honestly, in those first couple games that I've seen him play, he doesn't necessarily look like he's got much more speed than the rest of the guys. Like, when he pulls the ball down and he decides he wants to go, like, he seems like he's having a little bit of trouble getting away from those defenders. I don't know. That might just be what I'm seeing. But we'll see what happens. I mean, he's been accurate on the throws he's made. But, you know, he's got Fitz out there. He's got Christian Kirk. He's got, who else did they draft? They've got a wide receiver that they drafted. It's got a pretty familiar name. A former NFL player's name. I forgot what the heck his name was, but I think the second preseason game, he had a pretty good game. Yeah, he did pretty well. I can't think of his name right now. Dang it. Oh well, skip it. Well, against the Cardinals, based on how their offensive line is playing, yeah, I know David Johnson's going to be tough to stop. I mean, Christian Kirk's going to make some plays, I believe. Fitz, I mean, he's still going to be there. And is that a home game for us? No, good, it's a home game. So, I mean, we don't necessarily have to worry about Fitz as much since it's a home game. Because Fitz, I mean, he has his best games later in his career as of right now. He has his best games at home. So, since it's a home game for us, maybe he won't be so much of a factor. Kareem Butler, who they drafted, he's hurt. He's going to be out like the first 6 weeks. So maybe he will be back for that game, but he hasn't done much in the preseason to really warrant a starting spot to begin with. All right, so that game I have us winning that game. That would be our second win of the season. So I would have us at 2-5 at that point. So then we go up against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. This game's a toss-up. I don't know who to pick for this one. Stafford could be on. Stafford could be off. I think this game really comes down to how much of a effect T.J. Hockenson has on that offense. If T.J. Hockenson comes out and he looks like the real deal at tight end, this game could definitely be a big problem for us. Because with Hockenson, Galladay on the outside, you know, Marvin Jones on the outside, don't forget about him. I mean, 2 years ago he had over 1,000 yards. I mean, he can still get it done. Definitely don't forget about him. Kerryon Johnson coming out of the backfield, a guy that can catch the ball, can pretty much do it all. It all depends on how much, you know, Matt Patricia is going to feed him in the backfield. They should feed him a lot. I mean, I don't understand why they don't. The guy's just an all-around back, and he can do it all. So, I mean, it's a toss-up. But, like I said, it comes down to me, T.J. Hockenson. and what kind of impact he has on that team. If he doesn't have much of an impact, I can see us squeezing that one out. So, you know, Ziggy Ansah, he's not there anymore. Their defense, I mean, Darius Slay is still there, but that's about it. Their defense is just, they're not much. They're not much. So, I mean, I'll give us the win. So I'll put us at 3-5 at that point. Cowboys Giants at home, that's a loss. So I put us at 3-6. Giants Jets. Giants Jets, I have that as a loss for us. I just think Sam Darnold's going to step up in his second year. I think you could possibly see not a Carson Wentz-like season, but I think you'll see an improvement like Carson Wentz. A improvement in Sam Darnold like Carson Wentz had in his second year. Not to the extent that Carson Wentz had. But I think Sam Darnold will definitely be improved. Robbie Anderson, Le'Veon Bell, you know, Jameson Crowder's there now. Quincy Enunwa is still there. He's a good wide receiver while he's out there. He gets hurt a lot also. And then Chris Herndon, he's a pretty decent tight end. He's not bad, but he's going to be suspended the first 4 games of the season, but he'll be there when we play him. And so he should definitely have an impact on that offense. He did pretty well last year for a rookie tight end. So I just have that game as a loss, and I think their defense it's an up and coming defense. In my eyes, it's an up and coming defense. I think the Jets are just a better team than us right now. Hopefully that changes in the next couple of years. All right, so what do we have? We got 3 wins and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses. I've got us at 3-7 at this point. The Giants Bears, not going to happen for us. Loss, 3-8. Packers Giants. I'm trying to make this a little bit quicker because I'm running out of time. Packers Giants, loss. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be too much. If Aaron Jones comes out and stays healthy the whole entire season, I think he can be one of the best backs in the league. I mean, the guy is extremely explosive. I mean, dude just averages over 5 yards a carry. Every time he gets the ball, the guy is just nasty. I mean, he's scary coming out of the backfield. If he gets any kind of hole, watch out. You got MVS, Devontae Adams. I mean, the list goes on and on. Well, not necessarily on and on. I mean, they've had better offenses in the past, but I mean, they're kind of getting back to what they used to have. Jimmy Graham, who knows what we're going to get out of Jimmy Graham. But I know they've added a few pieces to their defense, and I think it should play better this year. But, you know, the Packers, their offense is going to be too much for us. So, it's what, 3-9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 3-8. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3-9. Then we play the Eagles away in Philadelphia. That's a loss. The Eagles, to me, I believe the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. Now, I hate to be one of these guys that's a Giants fan and is telling you that the Eagles are going to win the division, because I hate the Eagles just as much as any other Giants fan does. Just as much as I hate the Cowboys. But the Eagles just have too many weapons on that team. I mean, I said it on Mad Dog's video. I think it was Mad Dog's video. I watch a lot of his stuff. And The Entertainer, I watch his stuff too. I comment on their videos every once in a while. I mean, they comment back to me. Sometimes they don't like what I have to say. But, I mean, it's just my opinion, like I said. But, you know, the Eagles, I mean, they've improved their defense. I think they added a couple pieces to their offensive line. And Dillard. And then, you know, you got Jeffrey on the outside. They've just got good pieces to that offense. They've got a little bit of everything. They have a lot of balance. And they just have a lot of what other teams don't have. You know, you got Jeffrey, you got the big body target on the outside. You got this kid, Miles Sanders, that they drafted, that Barkley has been hyping up for you know, the past 2 years, of course, because he's from Penn State. But, I mean, Miles Sanders seems like he's legit. You got Jordan Howard there. Darren Sproles is still there. Darren Sproles can still get it done when he gets the ball in his hands. He's like a little jitterbug, man. I mean, he's tough to stop. He's not going to get the ball very often, but he can get the ball enough to be a pain in the ass. So, like I said, they got Jeffrey on the outside. They got Ertz. They've got Goddard, who, to me, man, those two, I believe they are going to be the closest thing that we have seen to Gronk and Hernandez since that pair broke up. I think Goddard is going to be implemented into this system a lot more by Doug Peterson, and those two are going to be a handful by themselves to stop. I see this coming. Because Dallas Goedert, man, every opportunity he got last year, I mean, he did something with it. And if you're thinking about drafting Zach Ertz in fantasy football, you better think about that guy. Because he may take some work away from Zach Ertz. He's not going to take away a lot, but I mean, he's going to pull away from his production. And then you think about everybody's favorite Giant, Mr. Deshaun Jackson is back. I've got some bad words I want to say about Deshaun Jackson, but I'm just not going to do it right now because I'm trying to keep this video as clean as possible. And then, you know, you got Jackson, you got Aguilar. You know, you got two people that can stretch the field. I think Aguilar's still there. Two people that can stretch the field. Jeffrey, big body. Two big tight ends on the inside. Miles Sanders, who can catch the ball, has got some quickness. Jordan Howard, who can just pound the ball. Not necessarily always effective, but he can pound the ball. Is there anybody else on that offense I'm forgetting? Carson Wentz is back. I mean, obviously, he is the big component to that team's success. I mean, he has to stay healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, their defense is good. Their defense isn't as good as Dallas's, but if I had to choose between Dallas's offense and Philly's offense, I'll take Philly's offense all day long. Even with Dallas having Zeke. Because Dallas just does not have the firepower to mess with the Philadelphia Eagles. Not to me. Because Cooper's too inconsistent. I mean, he has these huge games where he just blows up and then he just disappears. Now, it doesn't seem like it's as bad as it was when he was in Oakland, but he still has those games. But, I mean, with Dallas, watch out for Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup's I think he's going to be a pretty good player. Back to Philly. Their defense has improved, and I just think the offense is going to be the difference in Philadelphia winning the division. I just think they're going to be able to score more points. It's going to be tough to do against Dallas, but I think Philly's they're going to be the cream of the crop of the division. All right, so that puts us at 3-10. No, we'll be at 4-10. 4-10. No, 3-10. 3-10. Okay. So we play the Dolphins at home. This should be an easy win. We should beat the Dolphins. Josh Rosen, it's Kalen Ballage, whoever the heck they have coming out of the backfield. I mean, that guy, Williams, he's a rookie wide receiver that they have. This guy's like 6'4", 250. He's probably not 250. He's a big boy. I mean, he caught everything in that first preseason game. Everything that Rosen threw to him, he was catching. I mean, he could end up being a pretty good player. I think his name's like Preston Williams or something like that. He could end up being a pretty good player. Kenny Stills, you know, he's pissed off about the Jay-Z thing, so who knows if he'll even still be there. But I'm going to leave that at that. So that's a win for us there. So that puts us at 4-10. I don't know why I keep on losing track of this. I mean, it's late at night. I'm starting to get tired. So that puts us at 4-11. We're at 4-10. So we win against the Dolphins. Then we go to Washington. I'll probably be at that game. Go to Washington. We should beat the Redskins. I mean, by this time, I would think Daniel Jones is playing quarterback for this team. Regardless, if Eli's in there, if Daniel Jones is in there, we're beating the Redskins. The Redskins they're a mess. They just don't have anything. We don't know what's happening with Darius Geis, Bryce Love, AP. Who's going to be the running back for that team? Who's catching passes for that team? who's going to be the quarterback for that team? I'd imagine Dwayne Haskins is going to be the quarterback for the majority of the season. Will he start? I don't know. Case Keenum will probably start. And then Haskins will take over soon after. But the Redskins, ugh. I got a lot of friends that are Redskins fans, and I feel bad for them because they've been bad for so long. And that's like the one team that Eli can just continuously beat. If he played the Redskins 4 times a year, he would be a world beater. I would have no problems with Eli Manning. And then we play the Eagles. Again, at home. Same result. Loss. So, I have us finishing at 5-11. 5-11. And that is my honest opinion. I don't like it, but that's just the way I see it. I'm sure a lot of you have differing opinions. I mean, I've seen a few videos where people have made their projections for the season, and they have been a lot more positive than mine. But I just think the inexperience and our lack of weapons on the outside, and heaven forbid if one of our offensive linemen go down, then we're really going to be in trouble. Because we still just don't have the depth on this team to compete. And I see some of these people that have these projections for us to win like 9 to 10 games, and I'm like, what? Where do you get these numbers from? Like, where? Like, dude, if Evan Ingram goes down, like, he is our number 1 wide receiver. To me, he is. Because he's that big-bodied guy that can run. Now, obviously, he can't run routes like Shep, but he's just that big target that can create separation, catch the ball, and do something with it. Besides, like Saquon. And Saquon is going to have to be a horse. And I hate that we're going to have to do that to him again. I just hope he stays healthy, makes it through this year, okay, and he gets to next year and he's roaring and ready to go. With Daniel Jones at quarterback and a few more pieces on this team to where we can really compete. Not necessarily really compete, but I mean be in the conversation at least. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's what I have us finishing at, 5-11. It's getting late. I need to go to bed so I can go to work. So, I mean, that's pretty much all there is for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will maybe make a video before the season starts. I don't know. Maybe doing a little pregame before Giants-Cowboys, giving you my last thoughts. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a good night. Take it easy. Until next time, see ya.